certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
It's showtime.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankin. It's going to be a fun one today. We're going to be talking about Tim Burton movies, and I've got a great panel of people here. We've got Steve. Steve, how's it going?
It's going very well. I am enjoying this lovely evening on a Sunday and having, company here. We're talking about Tim Burton movies. It's of one of my favorite directors, and that I always enjoy his work. Whether from excellent to good to like very interesting. So I'm looking forward to trying to talk about the Burton filmography.
Also, we've got here someone I knew instantly that needed to be on here as soon as I put it on the poll. Jacob Barber.
Oh,
Jacob,
thanks, buddy.
Well, also you. Hold on, you'll get your turn, JPO. But yes, Tim Burton. He is my favorite director. I absolutely love most of his movies. He's got a couple, that could be labeled as stinkers in there, but for the most part, I enjoy his filmography. And he's also the only director with a double-digit filmography that I've actually seen in full. So I'm excited to talk about his movies and see what makes the top 12.
And last but not least, we've got JPO. JPO, how's it going?
Howdy ho, everybody here. Tim Burton, one of my favorite filmmakers that has a new release movie in the last 2 weeks. Definitely top 10. No, he's got some great stuff here, so it'll be interesting to see what goes on. He's got an even 20. So unless you make some sort of like great argument, I'm basically saying yes to my top 12. That's how it's gonna roll tonight. So let's see where we align. I feel like if it's gonna go easy at first, then maybe that 8 to 12 might be where we start to differ.
Yeah. But if that how ranking works is each turns to nominate a movie I think belongs on a top 12 list, and if it gets majority of yeses, and because it is a four-person panel, like the person nominated, the vote won't. Well, they'll be nominated, but it's going to come down to the other three if it makes the list, or not if that makes any sense. But Steve, we're going to go to you first. What's the first movie you're going to bring up?
Oh, we've got to introduce Alejandro. Oh, he didn't show up.
Listen, I'm wearing this shirt for a reason. I'm gonna go with it. Beetlejuice.
Edward Scissorhands.
Edward, 1988 Beetlejuice, the original. I honestly fell into Beetlejuice in a reverse order. I really fell in love with the actual animated series. Big fan of it. I even have the whole complete series right now on DVD, and I actually had a couple of the Kenner toys that were based off the movie and coming off of the popularity of the cartoon. They got into putting those into sale. But man, I mean, it's just so it's if you don't have this in like at least maybe top 2, top 3, it's a shame because in my opinion, this is quintessential Tim Burton movie. It's as great as any of the movies he's ever had. I have other ones that I put maybe one above it, but it's just a phenomenal cast. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice is just having anybody else as Beetlejuice is just would have been a crime. And you have Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Winona Ryder, Catherine O'Hara. I mean, the cast, the ensemble itself is great, and the production design by Bo Welch.
Who else, Steve?
I'm not. Nope. Nope. Bo Welch with the production.
I was saying Glenn Shaddix. I don't know why you're so defensive.
Okay. The other wait guy. Bo Welch's production design is tremendous, and the makeup from V. Neal, who actually won an Oscar for her work on Beetlejuice. It is tremendous because like seeing the grotesque and not gory, but like very weird ways that these people go into the afterworld, and they're basically going to the shape that they pretty much got into via their death, and you're just like, okay, that guy got run over, so he's just shaped like a pancake for the rest of his afterworld. That's very interesting. But yeah, man, Beetlejuice has to be on this list.
Jacob, what do you say about Beetlejuice?
Oh yeah, this is an easy yes. I think Beetlejuice is a very fun movie. Yeah, I love the makeup design, the design of the town itself, the afterlife. I think is also pretty fun. Great performances. Yeah, I mean Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice was such an iconic character with 17 minutes of screen time. I think he made the most of it. The rest of the cast, as Steve mentioned, is doing their part. Captain O'Hara is a lot of fun. Glenn Shaddix, as JPO mentioned, I think is a fun addition to the cast as well.
And
So, and the dad's good too. I like his performance in the movie. Whatever his name is.
name your
But
dad.
no, this is an easy yes. I think yeah, like JPO said, I think we're gonna start off pretty easy, and then towards the end, it's like, all right, well, what else is gonna make the list in those final 2 or 3 spots?
JPO, what do you say about Beetlejuice?
I'm just waiting until Malcolm has a hot take for round one. You never know. I never trust you totally. No. This is a big, easy yes for me as well here. Top tier Burton. Everything everyone has said here from the performances to it's also I think holds up really well too. I revisited for the first time in a long time, like last year or so, and like actually was quite like pleasantly surprised. Like, oh yeah, this still really kind of works. Funny, interesting world, love practical stuff. So yeah, big yes.
Yeah, and yeah, it's an easy yes for Beetlejuice. Even my dogs are
Three times you showed up.
He agrees too.
But yeah, it's so good, and it's one of those ones like, and as well, and even the sequel is just as fun. But and it's fun fact, like Malkin wasn't the first choice of Beetlejuice. Like Tim Burton's original choice was Sammy Davis Jr. of all people, which would have been interesting.
Cats. Beetlejuice.
But that Beetlejuice is going to make
Can we take that out? Can you edit out my impression of Sam Davis?
We're live, so no.
We're live now.
We'll edit in post.
But Jacob, what is your first nomination going to bring up?
Yeah, so I think we start with one of his strong ones. I want to go to one that's a personal favorite of mine, and one that I'm not sure how the rest of the panel is going to vote, and that's Frankenweenie. I absolutely adore Frankenweenie. I love the stop motion animation. It's a Frankenstein story, but it's also a boy and his dog story. I love the stop motion. Stop motion is actually slowly becoming like one of my favorite forms of animation. I think it when it's done right, it is fantastic. And I think it's done really well here. I love the story. I love the voices. Some of his, regulars coming back here. Captain O'Hara, Martin Landau, that he's worked with before. Winona Ryder. I think the voice cast is good. I just love the story. I think it's an easy, breezy watch. It tells its story. You get in and out, and it's just a fun time. So, Frankenweenie. Spoiler: it's probably not the only animated movie I'll nominate.
JPO, what do you say about Frankenweenie?
Not the movie I thought Jacob was going to go with, but I think I see what you're doing with your strategic placement of your votes. I'll give this a yes as well here. I believe obviously kind of a little bit of a passion project as well. His original short film was Frankenweenie, so they probably had to do it years later in a bigger, grander way, and might actually be spoilers. My favorite of his animation flicks, even the ones that he just produced. I think the heart and humor here lands to me even more than the other ones, in my opinion. So it's a yes.
Yeah, well, I like Frankenweenie. I do think it's pretty good, and it is a fun movie to watch. And so it's a yes for me. Steve, what do you say about Frankenweenie?
I love the fact that this was honestly, I think definitely Frankenweenie deserves to be on this list for sure. I think this is his most I think my favorite film from his in the tens, because that one was an expansion on his short, which came out in 1984, and that had and I love that it was an extension of the short, and they just made it a full length movie and made it stop animation and it just made it very imaginative and had some cool creature designs and just having the bug-eyed Vincent like character just makes it just a throwback to his previous two shorts. Vincent and Frankenweenie. So definitely for sure, I think it deserves to be on here.
And with that, Frankenweenie is going to make the list. JPO, what is your first nomination?
Yeah, I'll go with one that I just absolutely loved from my first viewing to my most recent one, Big Fish. I think isn't no doubter to be here. It's fantastical. It's also very human and emotional at the same time too. When you start to kind of grasp where the story is going here, first, wonderful performances from Ewan McGregor to as well as his older version of Albert Finney here. There's some great moments between him and just the love story here, the slowing and the stopping and the fast forwarding, the world that they build around it here again, fantastical. But then it becomes very human at the end too, and it nails the landing too. Like this movie, I feel to a large degree doesn't really have a false beat and is very, very just great writing and everything you kind of want from a Burton movie here. Yeah, so I'm gonna say Big Fish.
Yeah, Big Fish is an easy yes for me as well. It's it's one that I rewatched for and just it's just a really good adaptation, and it's just one of those ones I think does really well, especially when at the end where you see all these characters he talks about in his stories and all that just turn up at the end and just shows that his stories were true and everything and all that, and just really fun, sweet movie. Steve, what do you say about Big Fish?
I definitely Big Fish has to definitely be on there. I mean, it's been a minute since I've seen the movie. I probably seen it at least maybe twice in my lifetime. But I mean, for those times that I've seen them, it left a memorable impression, and I just thought it was very, very great. I mean, just what I love about Tim Burton is just not the way that he weaves in fantasy and extravagant events together in a semi-realistic way to make it feel like believable, which he does with Big Fish. And it's just his films, production design, makeup design, costume design, all even the ones that are not great, all the production that goes into his films are worth talking about. And Big Fish is one of those. It's one of those many, and great performances like been said by everybody here on the panel: Ewan McGregor, Billy Crudup, Jessica Lange. Such a who's name of great casting in 2003. So yes, Big Fish.
And Jacob, what do you say about Big Fish?
Oh yeah, it's gonna get a yes from me as well. Everything that's been mentioned already. I love the story here. I love the fantasy element. It's almost like a road trip story, in a way here. I love the weaving back and forth between the story being told and actually seeing the story. Ewan McGregor is fantastic. I think one of my favorite performances of his personally. So yeah, I mean, JPO might not like me when it comes time to rank them, but I do think it absolutely deserves to be on the list.
We're going to disagree on a couple of things. That's fine.
I mean, and last thing I will say about this is the fact this wasn't nominated for more Oscars. It's surprising to me. Like, it was only nominated for one, and that was for the score. But
Jesus,
I would have
nuts.
Fuck,
yeah, I would put that screenplay, actor, shit.
Production design, costume design, man, cinematography.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I don't think about stuff like that. But yeah, hell yeah.
2003 was a good year, so
it was. But
don't defend the Oscars, Jacob.
Stop defending the Academy.
it wasn't.
But moving on to me, and I do know like some of his the more popular ones will come up. But I'm going to try for one that I actually do think is really good of his that I don't know where it's going to go. And it's his take on Dumbo. I think his version of Dumbo I think is underway. I think it's a really good take, and he does a really good job of expanding on the story. Just bringing people like Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito as a ringmaster again, and I just think the story itself is still just as great, and he does a really good job of like adapting it without including all the problematic elements of the animated one as well. I think it's done really well. Well, I will argue it's probably a bit too long, but I think it's still really good. But Steve, what do you say about Dumbo?
And unfortunately, I did not have the time to watch Dumbo, so I'm gonna have to pass on that.
Jacob, what do you say about Dumbo?
Yeah, so on my first viewing, I wasn't the biggest fan of Dumbo, but I rewatched it and I came around to it a little bit. However, it's still going to be a no. I like the movie. I am positive on it. Um, I think my biggest hesitation going into it was how are you going to make a 65-minute movie? What are we going to add to it? And it just didn't hit for me as much as some of the other movies that I have in his top that I have in my top 12 for him personally. So it's going to be a no, but I do like the movie.
And JP, what would you say about Dumbo?
Unfortunately, I'm with Barbara on this. Actually, to a large degree, I am positive on the movie here. I think it's a fine, sweet and well-intended remake, but still, I got a number 15 personally here. I just rather champion is more original, that grassroots films more.
No, that's fair. But Steve, what is your next movie you're going to bring up?
The next movie I'm going to bring up is something. It's another connection to my childhood, and without this film, I wouldn't have seen a personal favorite television show, Pee Wee's Playhouse, Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Again, there's going to be a common theme where I kind of work backwards. So like how Beetlejuice was the road to the Beetlejuice movie, Pee Wee's Playhouse, which I literally grew up on that TV show on CBS Saturday morning. It was a road to watching Pee Wee's Big Adventure and Big Top Pee Wee. I mean, less to say about that, the better. But the first one, I mean, it's just Paul Rubens is Pee Wee. It's Pee Wee Herman. I mean, there's I think he's just quoted as Pee Wee Herman, if I'm not mistaken, in the credits. But it's a road story. We're talking about road story. Tim Burton has a knack for road stories, like we talked about Big Fish, and this is where he showed his roots in terms of doing a big story, a good time big story, and it's just phenomenal. And just Big Bertha, that scene just gave me nightmares. Like I couldn't at least maybe sleep for a week after watching that horrific 5, 6, 7 seconds of nightmarish stuff going on, but the rest of it is okay. Going to find the basement in the Alamo. The Alamo has basement? No, it doesn't. And his search for his bicycle. So Pee Wee's Big Adventure definitely deserves to be on the list.
Jacob, what do you say about Pee Wee's Big Adventure?
Well, had a certain movie not come out this week, I would say yes. However, I have this at number 13, and it's one of those things where I'm going to advocate for my top 12. If it makes it, I'm not going to be upset because I do enjoy the movie. I love all the different segments. I love Paul Rubin as Pee Wee. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a fun movie to watch. It's easily rewatchable. However, it's one of those things where there's such a limited number of movies available that I kind of want to stick to my top 12. However, if it makes it, I'm not going to be upset.
JPO, what do you say about Pee Wee's Big Adventure?
So, I don't really have any connection to this as a kid. Didn't see the TV show. Saw this later on. This does squeak into my list, though, actually, so I will give this a yes here. Paul Rubens really does commit. Like you said, he is kind of known as Pee Wee. I don't think I even knew his name was Paul Rubens until later on in life, even with just perfectly knowing the character, not even knowing too much of it. But no, there is an inherent charm in this movie here. It's a fun, good watch, so it does squeak on my list.
I also didn't grow up with his Playhouse as a kid. But I do like the movie, but unfortunately, just like Barbara, it's kind of at my number 13, and so I'm sadly going to have to say no. I do like the movie. Like, there's not a lot of Tim Burton movies I actually don't like. But yeah, it's just there's my top 12 is just like really too strong, this strong in for me. But yeah, fortunately, Perry's Big Adventure doesn't make the list. Jacob, what is your next nomination?
Well, I guess now I gotta advocate for my actual number 12. Otherwise, it's gonna make Pee Wee not making it worse for me. And that's the new Beetlejuice. I thought was a really fun sequel. I think Catherine O'Hara is absolutely fantastic in this. I think she's having the time of her life. She's absolutely hilarious. I'm not going to go into details because the movie did just get released. But I think everyone that's returned is having fun. Although the new characters, I think, are a lot of fun. I think the story is good. I love revisiting this town. I think it's a good enough sequel. I think it's absolutely worthy of a watch. And yeah, it's just a shame that it took 36 years for us to get a Beetlejuice sequel. But I'm glad we got one because I think it is a lot of fun.
JPO, what do you say about Beetlejuice?
Stop saying it twice, guys. Jesus. No, but no, this is a yes for me. I might even be higher on it than Barbara. Maybe I'm riding the recency high. I'm not exactly like over the moon about it here, but I did have fun. It was just fun seeing Keen get him play this character again here. He slides into it so easily here. Fun seeing everybody here. Ryder, as you mentioned, O'Hara. I think we found out in more recent years how hilarious she is. So like, I think they really let her, get to fly away with this as well. Again, just fun revisiting this world. There's some qualms about it here, but as far as making the top 12, it does for me. So yes.
Yeah, I also really loved the sequel. I actually, I might have to rewatch the first one. I think I liked it more than the first one, honestly. But and they're both good. And Jenna Ortega is the daughter to Winona Ryder. Lydia is kind of perfect cast. They're kind of very similar as well, but I think that makes sense. But it's just such a good movie, and I think they do creative ways to get around name redacted in the movie. But Steve, what do you say about Beetlejuice?
I mean, you reject Pee Wee's Big Herman, and you just. No, I'm just kidding. No. So yeah, I definitely agree. Beetlejuice definitely deserves to be on here. I mean, I kind of had middling expectations going into the movie because usually when it comes to sequels, they more times than not they don't live up to the original. But luckily, I think it does live up, to the original, and it has great. I mean, it has a lot of elements. You got a little bit of stop motion there. We got a little stuff that's from previous Burton's movies that's been inflicted here. Great casting ensemble and new additions with Jenna Ortega, Justin Theroux, Willem Dafoe, and Monica Bellucci. Just bellissima. And also tremendous soundtrack.
Burton agrees.
Low-key, great soundtrack. I mean, I've like looked at the sound listing. I've actually been listening to some of the songs from the soundtrack, with Tragedy and MacArthur Park really sticking out more times than I thought it was going to stick in my mind. So, yeah, I agree. Definitely, Beetlejuice deserves to be on here.
Beetlejuice is going to make the list. JPO, what is the next one you're going to bring up?
So I could try to shoot my shot like some of you are doing, or I could just be one of the obvious guys again. And I like being told yes. So I'm going to go with Batman. Even the first time you see Batman here. What? Sorry, having a malfunction here. The first time you see Batman is pretty iconic and fantastic here. I love the way he kind of brings Gotham to us here. The Joker is fantastic. Come on. It's still a lot of people's main Joker. I don't know what else you can say. It's a great first version of the Dark Knight on the big screen. So yeah, Batman.
For a second, I thought you were going to do a bit. JP, I was like, the first time I see Batman, it's like, oh wait, it's like just to spit off screen Batman turns.
I'm gonna pull Batman by disappearing.
But yeah, I mean, I do like the Tim Burton's Batman, I'm not as high on as everyone else. And so yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to give a slight no. But
What?
I do think I'm not as high on it as much as everyone else is. Um,
Calm down, JPO.
so
Calm
Steve, what
down.
do you say about Batman '89?
While I do enjoy Batman '89, there's another one that I would like to bring up, and I actually like the one that I want to bring up when it comes to me than this one does. So, just by a slight margin, I have to say no.
What?
Jacob,
Beetlejuice makes it, but not both Batmans?
Jacob, what do you say about Batman '89?
What the fuck just
This
happened?
was an easy yes. I mean, this is a fantastic.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton is Batman. Jack Nicholson is the Joker. The score is really good. I love the action in this. The fact that Tim Burton can do a movie like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, move on to Beetlejuice, and then move on to Batman, I think just shows his range as a director. I think he's fantastic. I think he gets really good performances out of the actors around him. I would have said yes. This would have been a top 5 for me, but
Yeah.
Okay.
What the fuck just happened?
Well, I will say I didn't expect it to get out. I just thought, oh yeah, it's going to get on. Like I can give my thoughts about it, and it'll still make it on. But Steve changed the game.
No, you
Unfortunately,
changed
Batman
the
89
game. Because evidently you think Dark Shadows or something is better. I'm so confused as to what's on your list. I respect you guys. What's next?
But anyway, for my next nomination, I'm going to bring up Sweeney Todd, the Demon Jacob of Fleet Street. And Sweeney Todd is a really great adaptation of the musical. And it's, honestly, this is actually the first time I'd even heard of the musical. I originally thought it was original until I realized it was actually an actual Broadway musical. And I think Johnny Depp is great as the lead, and I mean even Alan Rickman and Timothy Spall I think were great. And it's one of those ones like I didn't realize like any of these people could sing until this movie. I think it's just so good. But Steve, what do you say about Sweeney Todd?
Sweeney Todd for sure definitely deserves to be on here. It's the only familiarity I've had with with Sweeney Todd was actually a scene from Jersey Girl. That was my first familiarity with Sweeney Todd. I've never heard of Sweeney Todd until I actually watched that Jersey Girl movie, and then 3 years later, this adaptation came out, and I was just blown away. It's like this is his second full-fledged horror film that Tim Burton crafted, and basically off of Stephen Sondheim's musical. I mean, he created a world that he basically made. It's not his world, but he made it his own. He made sure that it had a certain stamp of Burton-esque elements to it. Even if you see some of the costume design and the drawings in pre-production, like it has the bug eyes, skinny ladies type of Tim Burton type of caricature you would see in his previous movies. And Johnny Depp definitely should have. I guess Daniel Day-Lewis definitely deserved that one. But I mean, between Daniel Day-Lewis and Johnny Depp, it was like neck and neck in my opinion. And Helen Bonham Carter, Jamie Campbell. I mean, Timothy Spall, the late Alan Rickman. I mean, as George Turpin is just fantastic. And yeah, I think Sweeney Todd is definitely worthy of this list.
Jacob, what do you say about Sweeney Todd?
Yeah, I've made my thoughts on this movie very clear. I absolutely love this movie. For the longest time, it was my favorite Tim Burton movie. Is it still? Who knows? We'll see when we rank them. But I'm going to say yes. Yeah, I think the music is is really good. I love the dark tone of the movie. The performances. Sacha Baron Cohen for his limited time is a lot of fun. And yeah, I love that whole killing, montage is just so good with the song. I think it's fantastic. So, yeah, I'll say yes for Sweeney Todd.
JPO, what do you say about Sweeney Todd?
I want to say no for spite, but I'll probably say it later for truth. So yeah, it's a yes for me. It's a good dark tale here that's well acted by everybody. So it's a yes.
But that Sweeney Todd does make the list. Steve, what is your next nomination?
I'm going to take, we talked about one horror movie and we're going to go into another, actually his first full-fledged horror territory, Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow was a very interesting tale on the adventures of Ichabod Crane. It definitely was not the Disney-fied version I kind of was expecting as watching when I was watching it as a youngin'. But my God, beheadings galore. I mean, if you're a fan of beheadings, then I don't know why this is not like one of your best movies of all time. Christopher Walken as Headless Horseman, the late Miranda Richardson as one of the characters. Christopher Lee just pops up in the beginning because he's Tim Burton being the big horror fan that he is. It has to cast Christopher Lee as one of the judges, and Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane is definitely a memorable Tim Burton-esque character. Production design, as always, is a banger, especially here. Makeup, costume is top notch. Sleepy Hollow.
Jacob, what do you say about Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah, this is another one that's going to get a yes for me. I think, yeah, it's his sort of first full-fledged horror movie. He's dabbled in horror elements before, obviously, but this is the one where like horror is front and center, and I think he does it really well. I think he gets good performances out of the actors. Johnny Depp is fantastic. Christopher Walken is, when we see his head is pretty creepy. I think he's really good. I think it's an interesting take on the Headless Horseman story. I absolutely enjoy it. It's an October watch for me every year. So yeah, it's gonna get a yes for me.
JPO, what do you say about Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've visited the world of Sleepy Hollow here, but I literally even worked a couple times. I have seen it here. I think it deserves to be here, so I'll say yes.
Yeah, I actually just watched it for the first time just before we went live, and yeah, it's great, and it's just definitely one that might end up being on a regular rotation for me when it comes in October as well. And yeah, it's such a great horror movie, and it's yeah. So Sleepy Hollow is going to make the list. Jacob, what is your next nomination?
Yeah, so we got 6 on the list, so we're still trying to get 6 more. All right, I'll go with one that I think is fairly obvious, and I think this is just his best movie from like a technical standpoint. I think this is just his best made movie, and that's Ed Wood. I think Ed Wood is fantastic. Obviously, a biopic about the director Ed Wood, and just kind of his style of filmmaking, how he was like one of the best bad filmmakers out there. I love the cast of characters here. Between Johnny Depp, Martin Landau, Sarah Jessica Parker, Patricia Arquette, Bill Murray. Shout out to George Steele. Anytime there's a wrestler in the movie and I can shout him out, I'm gonna do that. I love that. Yeah, I love that. And this is something that came to me on these last couple of rewatches, is that while it's a biopic about Ed Wood, it's kind of also chronicling Bela Lugosi's last days, which I think is very interesting as well. Kind of meshing those two together, and I think he does it really well. This is one that I wish got more love at the Oscars. I know Martin Landau won Best Supporting, but I thought it deserved more love. It's one that as I've rewatched it's crept up not only my Tim Burton list, but also like my just personal favorite movies list. I absolutely adore this movie. I think it's so good. So Ed Wood will be my next nomination.
JPO, what do you say about Ed Wood?
Yeah, if you had gone to me one more, I would have said this would have been my next one here. So I love a good movie that's also about movie making. That's always pretty cool to me as well. So this one I really dug here. I think everyone, again, really cool, unique Johnny Depp performance here. Martin Landau is only a few years away from me, and Sal Bandini, Juana Russell, getting the win here. Even George Hannibal Steel connection. Great movie about movies. Well worth watching, well worth revisiting. Big yes.
Yeah, Ed Wood is easy yes for me as well. Honestly, I was going to rewatch it for this, but I wanted to try and catch up with some of the ones I hadn't seen first before it. Then I just ran out of time. And I think Ed Wood is great. And yeah, it's an easy yes for me. Steve, what do you say about Ed Wood?
Yes, Ed Wood. It's his first black and white movie, first full length motion picture black and white movie. It's I mean anything that's a movie about a movie, even some of the middling ones like Hitchcock, it has some intrigue for me, especially someone who have inspirations in filmmaking. Just watching this, I came late into it, like what when the 10-year anniversary came out. That's when I first saw Ed Wood was in 2004, and I was blown away by its first viewing and by its many viewings after that. And I mean, now listen, Samuel Jackson over Martin Landau, Pulp Fiction over Ed Wood. I'm a little ticked off at that, but totally understanding at the time they were paying tribute to Bela Lugosi, and Hollywood always like to give themselves a round of applause, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think Ed Wood definitely deserves to be on here. Johnny Depp delivering also one of his best performances in the Burton movie, let alone in one of his best performances in the career as Ed Wood. So I already said Tor Johnson, George Steele. Well, you can't really say much more about that.
Ed Wood is going to make the list. JPO, what is your next nomination?
I'm just going to try again. Batman Returns. Take it away, Malcolm.
I just don't like Batman Returns.
Fuck, you hate both of them? Jesus.
Look, I don't hate 89's Batman. I like it. It's just outside of my personal top 12. But I bet out of the four of the like that quadrilogy Batman movies, like Batman Returns is my least favorite out of the four.
Out of Batman and Robin?
It's fun. It's campy fun.
Jesus Christ.
Steve, what do you say about Batman Returns?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. This is actually my second favorite Batman. This was, again, most of these picks are going to be linked to my childhood. I literally saw this movie in theaters, 1992, opening night, where we had. Forever, I will be scarred by the fact that some of these movie theaters were dressed as the Penguin and Catwoman. The guy dressed as the Penguin scared the living shit out of me, and I left through the middle of the movie because my dad actually paid this guy to scare me while I went to the bathroom, and I'm like, after that, I'm like, fuck it. I didn't even see half the movie. I didn't even see the rest of the movie till it came out on VHS. That's how fucked my childhood was. But man, I mean, watching the rest of it in VHS, it is my second. It's my second favorite Batman, right behind The Dark Knight. It's just Christopher Walken's in it. Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman. I mean, you have many Zoe Kravitz and your Anne Hathaway playing Catwoman, but nobody's going to surpass. Nobody's going to surpass Michelle Pfeiffer. Sorry, Michael Keaton returning in fine form, and Danny DeVito in his most psychotic. I think it's his best role. I think it's the best role of all time as the Penguin. Production design, tremendous. Makeup design, costume, the whole world. It's curtailed to the most. It's the most Burton-esque Batman, more than the '89 one was. So yes, for sure. Hell, I even had some Another line of toys that I also had was the Batman Return toys. So yes.
Um, Jacob, what do you say about Batman Returns?
Yeah, I love both these Batman movies. I think they're on par with each other in my opinion. I think this is a worthy sequel. Seeing Michael Keaton return as Batman, Danny DeVito's Penguin is absolutely creepy. I love his character and the way they make up the makeup design and everything revolving around him. You know, Christopher Walken, I love his time in the movie. I think it's a worthy sequel. I think these first two Burton Batman movies are fantastic. So I have no problem with Batman Returns being on the list.
That Batman Returns makes the list. So on to me, and for my next nomination, I'm going to bring up Mars Attacks. This is I have a lot of fun watching this. It's the great cast like Michael J. Fox, Pierce Brosnan, Sarah Jessica Parker, and among everyone else, it's just a really fun science fiction movie that. And who knew that Tom Jones would help save the world from aliens as well? It's just a fun movie, and I have a lot of fun with it. Steve, what do you say about Mars Attacks?
How many do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 4. Honestly, I like it, but this was outside my 12. I like it for what it. I liked how he adapted a trading card series. Who would have thought they would have had enough juice in a trading card series to make a full length motion picture out of it and to make it memorable and to have all of this full line of cast? But I don't. It's okay. It's entertaining, but again, it's outside my 12. So I'm going to give it a slight no.
Jacob, what do you say about Mars Attacks?
I'm giving Mars Attacks yes. Yeah, I think the cast is pretty stacked. I think this is his funniest movie. I think there's a lot of good humor in it. There's some good action. I think the alien design is a lot of fun. There's some fun moments. It's not going to be super high up on the list for me, but I still really really enjoy this movie. So yeah, pretty easy yes for me. Oh wow! Somebody gave it a 1.5 on Letterboxd. Oh my goodness! Never mind. Well, we can talk about that later.
Who's that?
I don't want to call.
Who was it?
I don't want to call him out.
I will.
JP, what do you say about Mars Attacks?
1 second. No, I'll go ahead. I'm trying to find the review. No, I'll say ack, motherfuckers. No, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. Oh, fucking Jonathan Perro, calm down. It's not a 1.5. Anywho, love you, John. No, this is a big yes for me, actually. Yeah, I really want to see Steve's list now because I'm so confused with this. Again, this in Batman doesn't make your 12. What the fuck is in your 12? But we'll get there. No, I love this ensemble cast here. Again, maybe this hit me at the right age too. Like this is one of the first, probably this and Batman are kind of the first two Tim Burton movies I'm kind of growing up on. Early Jack Black's in this, Lucas Haas, everybody, Natalie Portman, Jewel Nicholson. It's fun. Hell yeah, that's a yes for me.
If that Mars Attacks is going to make the list, Steve, we go to you next. What is your next nomination?
I mean, I'm surprised that we kind of gone to top tier Burton movies, and we haven't even gotten. I don't think we kind of scratched the surface, but I think probably one of the last top tier ones that should be mentioned is Edward Scissorhands. I mean, Edward Scissorhands is again. I all my picks are fucking linked to childhood. Saw this shit in 1990. The last part where he's cutting up the kid, it freaked me out, but it was not strong enough where where I had to leave the theater. It was luckily just somebody I had next to me. My aunt just said, "No, we're not leaving. I paid good ticket. I paid good money for these tickets. You're not fucking leaving if you're traumatized. I don't give a fuck." Winona, this is between Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands. Winona Ryder was having a time with Burton, and this has to be probably one of her best performances in her career. Also. Movie was shot in Florida, so you're gonna have a Tim Burton movie being shot in Florida. I mean, come on. Again, Vincent Price as the inventor, crazy. Johnny Depp, Alan Arkin, Diane Weiss. It's Anthony Michael Hall. It's just it's like he hits out of the ballpark with these castings. So yes, Edward Scissorhands. Let's go, baby.
Jacob, what do you say about Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah, another one that was going to be a pretty easy yes. I love Johnny Depp's performance. I love the cast of characters, as Steve pointed out. I also just love the contrast and kind of Johnny Depp's character and the setting as a whole. Like the setting is so bright and vibrant, and then Johnny Depp is just so dark, like black and white almost. And I love that contrast in the movie. I love the friendship that builds between Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder. I think it's a lot of fun. I think there's some really good moments. I think it's a fun. While it's not a Christmas movie, it's a fun one to kind of watch around the holidays because it does kind of have some holiday moments in there. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I think there's some good performances. Some top-notch performances in here as far as Burton's filmography goes. So another one that's a pretty easy guess.
JPO, what do you say about Edward Scissorhands?
Oh, sorry, clicking the wrong buttons here. Wrong buttons. I love it. Steve's argument. Like, it's in Florida. I don't give a shit if it's in Florida. It's shot in Florida. I have no allegiance to this state. I just live here. But this is an easy yes. This is the last of the easy yeses. Now we're getting into the nitty gritty. What's left on the list here? This is easily a top tier. Again, just when you think Burn, I think this maybe the first movie that just kind of comes to mind is this crazy avant-garde movie that maybe in other hands wouldn't work, but somehow 1000% does work, and it's a great flick. So yes.
I love Edward Scissorhands. I think it's great. And there's not much more I can say that people haven't said about it. The Edward Scissorhands is going to make the list. Jacob, what is the next nomination?
Yeah, so the last one that's in my actual top 12 before I have to now venture outside the top 12, unfortunately, is Corpse Bride. I absolutely love Corpse Bride. I think his two animated movies, both stop action, I think he absolutely knocked them out of the park. It's just a shame he didn't actually direct Nightmare Before Christmas. Otherwise, it would be an easy nomination for me as well. But he did direct Corpse Bride, and I think he did a fantastic job. Another sort of animated musical here, with a fun, unique story. The main guy here, Victor. Well, I forget the last name all the time. Van Dort. Accidentally marrying a corpse and getting taken to the afterlife, and seeing their relationship grow, but also him dealing with the fact that he's still alive and he's got to get back, and seeing those two worlds kind of mix. I think there's some fun songs here. Again, I think the stop motion absolutely works, and I think it's beautiful. So Corpse Bride will be my next nomination.
JPO, what do you say about Corpse Bride?
If things had gone the way my 12 went, it would have been a no. But since we've said no to other things that I like more, it has now squeaked into a yes. I like it. I think it's just kind of super quick and kind of done to where it's never been high on my list in either the year or Burn in general here. But it's a yes now, so yes.
And yeah, this is an easy yes for me as well. Corpse Bride is great. It's such a fun animated movie, and Yes, so it's a yes for me. Steve, what do you say about Corpse Bride?
Yes, Corpse Bride. It does definitely should make it on the list. I mean, with he's just stop motions. He's really has an eye in terms of getting getting an imaginated state in terms of stop motion. Like we said, even right, we were talking about Frankie Winnie. He just having those big eyes and those small frame and the big head. It's a very Burton-esque caricature that's been carried that he has carried on through his filmography, whether it's live action or animated. And definitely for sure, this movie definitely deserves to be on the list. I mean, just Helena Bonham Carter as the Corpse Bride is great, and along with Johnny Depp and Richard Grant too, as the villain. Richard E. Grant, the Oscar nominated for I forgot. Can you ever forgive me? That's what it was.
But I think Corpse Bride is going to make the list. We've got one spot left. JPO, what are you going to bring up?
Yeah, I'm not. It's not a super enthusiastic vote. It's where I just happen to have it next. So I can see it going either way here. Dark Shadows. Everyone's kind of having some fun. It's kind of all over the place, but there's some fun to be had. I think it's an easy watch. Dark Shadows.
I haven't seen Dark Shadows. It's the only one that I haven't seen that I just couldn't find anywhere to check it out. Steve, what do you say about Dark Shadows?
No. Second worst Burton movie I've seen. It's
hard to disagree. Opposite.
Again.
Jacob, what do you say about Dark Shadows?
It's literally last on my list.
All right, I guess I'm that's how I figured it
go. For my next nomination, I'm going to bring up Alice in Wonderland. Look, the other Disney live action remake. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think Johnny Depp is having a lot of fun as Mad Hatter, and I think it's one of those ones like they didn't do a straight remake of the animated movie. It's kind of a pseudo sequel kind of thing where Alice is kind of returning to Wonderland essentially. So it's one of those remakes that is not a remake but a sequel, but it's all over the place. But I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it's good. Steve, what do you say about Alice in Wonderland?
Literally last on my list.
Jacob, what do you say about Alice in Wonderland?
I am positive on the movie. Like I said, there's only a couple Burton movies that I absolutely dislike. With that being said, Alice in Wonderland is still 18th on my list. I do think Johnny Depp is having a lot of fun. I think there's an interesting story here. However, it just doesn't quite hit for me like it does for some other people. So it's going to be a no.
JPO, what do you say about Alice in Wonderland?
That's a big old no for me, boss. Yeah, this is very late on my list here. Johnny Depp even annoys me in a couple scenes. Yeah, I don't love his remakes. Dumbo is weirdly the highest.
But Steve, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, I'm going to shoot my shot. I didn't bring this up before we filmed this about certain rules. Again, shoot my shot.
God,
I got a second in my back pocket. I got a second choice in my back pocket just in case. I am picking a short film, Vincent. Vincent was a 19. Again, nobody's going to see, but I'm going to shoot my shot, so we'll see what happens.
Well, one thing I'll say is, has anyone else seen the short film Vincent?
I've not seen it yet.
Well,
yeah, we've been on this show, man. We vote on movies. We don't vote. Have we ever voted on a short film before?
All right. Would have Okay, I was just asking if it would have qualified. Just asking. All right.
No, it's not a movie.
I mean, we're okay. So, all right. I'm gonna go with Big Eyes. Because like I know I said no the Batman, but like we're literally going down to the bottom of the barrel, and I really was intrigued with Big Eyes from like I've only seen it once when I saw it, and I was like never heard about the story at all before going to this movie, and I was very intrigued, and I looked more about this information, and actually I think the real story is a little more interesting than how what's told on the screen. But the way that Burton told the screen, especially with it definitely has very Burton-esque images with the big eyes and certain with the big eye character paintings kind of coming to life. But like Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz, I think delivered probably like one of the best performances of that year, and that coming up a strong year in 2015. So big eyes.
Jacob, what do you say about Big Eyes?
Yeah, I'm not over the moon about having Big Eyes on the list, but it is next on mine as well. I am positive on the movie. I do think it's a good movie. Funny enough, it feels like the least Tim Burton movie that Tim Burton has done, because other than the Big Eyes, there's really nothing Burton-esque about it. It seems like it's just a typical based on the true story movie, but it's got some really good performances. I think Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz are really good. So I'll give it a yes if it makes the list. I'm cool with it. If not, we're really scraping here.
JPO, what do you say about Big Eyes?
It's a slight no for me. It's the next one, so I don't mind if it makes it, but I still have something higher.
Yeah, I mean, I like Big Eyes enough. And this is one that I did actually watch for this, and I actually get what Jacob was saying. Like, it's kind of the least kind of Burton-esque style movie that he's done, but the story itself was actually somewhat interesting. So I am going to give this a slight yes. I do think it's good enough. And yeah, so that is going to close up the list. Normally we would go to honorable mentions, but it's going to literally be our only three movies that just wasn't talked about. Miss Peregrine's, Charlie, and Planet of the Apes.
Miss Peregrine would have been what I would have went with next.
Which one?
Peregrine.
I would have went Charlie. I like his take on it.
Yeah, I would
I
have
hate
gone
his take, and I hate Johnny Depp. I hate that movie.
The other one that I absolutely dislike is Planet of the Apes, with the exception of Paul Giamatti. I think Paul Giamatti is absolutely trying in that movie, and I think he's the best part.
There's a really good monkey sex scene too. So,
but anyway, on that note, it's time to rank this. Rank what we've got. Just to recap what we've got on the list: we've got Beetlejuice, Frankenweenie, Big Fish, Beetlejuice, Sweeney Todd, Sleepy Hollow, Edward, Batman Returns, Mars Attacks, Edward Scissorhands, Corpse Bride, and Big Eyes. Steve, what do you have for number 12?
Big Eyes.
Jacob, what do you have for number 12?
Big Eyes.
JPO, what do you have for 12?
that's pretty easy. Big Eyes.
And I had Batman Returns, but Big Eyes is going to be at 12.
Jesus.
Jacob, what do you have for number 11?
I have Beetlejuice.
JPO, what do you have for 11?
I'm the leprechaun. Sorry, I can help do that once. Corpse Bride.
Batman Returns. Steve.
Corpse Bride.
Hey.
Oh. You guys and your recency bias.
JPO, what do you have for
I like it way more than Corpse Bride. I don't think I'll understand by that.
JPO, what do you have for 10?
I heard Jacob. Frankenweenie.
Batman Returns. Steve.
Bro, you and me are on the same wavelength here, dude. Frankenweenie.
Hey.
Jacob.
Beetlejuice. Although Frankenweenie is higher on this list than on my personal list, but that's because, of other reasons.
I'm sticking with Batman Returns. Steve,
Beetlejuice.
Jacob,
Beetlejuice.
JPO,
Nah, we broke up, Steve. Sleepy Hollow.
Beetlejuice is going to be at 9. Steve, what do you have at 8?
We get back together? Sleepy Hollow?
Jacob, what do you have at for 8?
Mars Attacks.
JPO,
Let's give it another try, Steve. Sleepy Hollow.
Batman Returns. Sleepy Hollow is going to be at 8.
Feel free to change up your board, Mike, if you want to, get bored of
No.
things.
Besides, it gives me time to focus on making the banners. So,
True.
Jacob, what do you have for 7?
Mars Attacks.
JPO,
The Jersey Girls spinoff, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Batman Returns. Steve,
I totally forgot that we still have Mars Attacks, so I'm putting Mars Attacks.
Ah.
But JPO, what do you have for 6?
Sweeney Todd.
Steve with Batman Returns. Steve,
Big Fish.
Jacob,
Don't hate me, JPO. This is where I have big fish. I have big fish next.
No, I saw it on your face, you son of a bitch.
Are you broken up again?
Yeah, this time for the final.
Yeah, but you and I are
much
gonna
well, I mean,
fucking
that
take
would
my
have been
rebound.
that would have been my number 1 Tim Burton movie.
Fuck yeah, Malcolm. All right, I forgive you a little bit, but not much. So for Batman Returns, Steve,
Edward Scissorhands.
Jacob,
Batman Returns.
JPO,
Sweeney Todd.
Damn. That was my number 1. Fuck.
Batman Returns is your 1 and Batman's not in your 12?
Yeah.
We're talking after we're done here. I'm
Yeah.
confused by your list.
JPO, what do you have for
Sweeney Todd.
Edward Scissorhands? Steve,
Edward Scissorhands.
Jacob,
I had Beetlejuice at number 4.
Edward Scissorhands is going to be at 4.
I'm cool with this though, because the top 4 are my actual top 4. So I like that.
But
I can't say
Steve,
that
what
at
do you have for number 3?
Edward.
Beetlejuice.
JPO,
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, feel free to change your board if you don't. If you get bored of a.
Oh, no.
Beetlejuice.
No, Beetlejuice. You know what?
Well, I mean, he'll have to change his board now because we're going to vote on number 1. So, which is between Sweeney Todd and Edward.
Damn it. My number 2. Fuck.
Steve, what do you have for number 1?
has wrestlers and it's about movies. Ed Wood.
Jacob, what do you have for number one?
6 months ago, this would have been different, but now it's Ed Wood.
JPO, what do you have for number one?
Oh shit! I thought we were gonna have to fight. Yeah, I would, baby.
I would have been the lone one for Sweeney Todd. Yeah, so what? Yeah.
I did not expect to talk about his, almost talk about his entire filmography on the episode.
Well, we were missing 3 movies basically. I mean, we
Yeah.
kind of we touched a little bit. If we talked to we talked about every fucking movie that he made, literally.
Yeah, I mean, we almost nominated all of them, which is
Yeah.
would have been crazy.
Even the short
I
films,
mean,
a little bit on the short films as well, you know.
Well, I mean, the reason I cut you off when you brought up Vincent is no one's seen it anyway, so it probably would have not made the list anyway. So that's
No, it's true. I know. I just had it, higher than Batman '89. But that's why I wanted to make an argument for it and just see where it would have gone. But it is what it is. So if I would have known, I probably maybe made a good decision.
Wait. So we figured it out. You screwed over Batman because you wanted to change the rules of ranking that's been on for over 300 episodes.
I know it's not. I didn't want to change the rules. I forgot.
No,
I
you
didn't.
did.
I just want to shot my shot. I didn't want to change the rules. I didn't want.
That's not shooting your shot. You're voting for a short film in a movie discussion.
Yeah.
I could have told you that.
I thought it would have qualified. My bad. That's my fault. Sorry.
I mean, it's one of those ones like anyway. Our top 12 Tim Burton movies. At number 12, we had Big Eyes. At 11, we had Brooks Bride. At 10, we had Frankenweenie. At 9, we had Beetlejuice. At 8, we had Sleepy Hollow. At 7, we had Mars Attacks. At 6, we had Big Fish. At 5, we got Batman Returns. At 4, we got Edward Scissorhands. At 3, we got Beetlejuice. At 2, we had Sweeney Todd. And our number 1 is Ed Wood. With that, next week's episode of Rankin, bring it. I'm pretty sure I remember it hasn't changed since I last looked at it. But yeah, it's going to be top 12 shows that won the Outstanding Comedy TV Show at the Emmys. So that'll be next week's episode. Steve, where can people find you online?
They can find me online at Mesa Media One on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. What do I got going on? I made together a nice Swerve versus Hangman, promo. So that's up there to the tune of 3 Days Grace. I Hate Everything About You, and I'm going to be traveling to Des Moines, Iowa, the weekend of September 27th. For Animate/Nightmare Weekend, I will be hosting 2 panels. One would be King of Scream Horror Trivia, and the other would be Horror Legacy Tournaments, as we discuss 16 of the biggest horror franchises and pit them against one another and see who is the king of horror legacy at the end of the hour that I have in the panel room.
Jacob, where can people find you online?
Yeah, not much. I pop up here from time to time. I pop up on JPO's channels from time to time, which I'm sure he'll plug in a moment. But mainly over at the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast over on YouTube. We have our own channel now where we talk about the week in wrestling and any news. This week, I will not be joining them because I will be doing some comedy in good old Tacoma, Washington. So if you're in the Tacoma area, go to Sixth and Proctor and check me out. But they will be discussing the All Out pay-per-view that just happened yesterday, featuring a couple of interesting spots. I'll just say that. If you watch the show, you know.
If you know, you know. Huh?
But JPO, we can be on you online.
Yes, I'm over at my main channel, the Periscope. We have a lot of fun. We do movie trivia, drafts sometimes, brackets, all sorts of shenanigans, countdowns, and Pierce Wrestling, similar idea. We just started the tag team tournament of 2024. Steve's in that. Jacob dropped out. So that's a lot of fun. And then, popping all over the place. Why We Love Horror, Multiplex. As we mentioned, Lonely Marks. We talk wrestling every Thursday at 10. You can find Barbara and I over there. We said talking AEW this week. Yeah, man, wherever I can. Popping on here from time to time to annoy Malcolm.
You can find me on Tape for Productions as I host Rankum every Sunday night. Next week is going to be top 12 TV shows that won Emmy. They won the Comedy Emmy Award. Mentioned earlier. Tomorrow night on Spear from the Past, where I'm going to have Eric Barra Moreno on to talk about WrestleMania 31. And you can also find me popping up on the Movie Hero Network. The final of the 2001 Letter series is this week, and I'm not sure what else is happening this week. Some brackets would happen. Is the best way to describe it. But until next time, see you next time, and keep listening. Shit.
Close up shop.